Hello, welcome to A Talk on a Table. Wow, what a great day this is. To my right we have
Peter Guzzino.
Yeah. And to my left we have, what's your name?
Tegan Smith.
Tegan here, she's our guest for today. Well, hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me to it's Talk with the Table, right?
Talk on a Table.
Talk on a Table. Okay, thanks for inviting me to Talk on a Table. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, how are you doing, Peter?
I'm all right. I'm just living.
You look really cool.
Summery. Yeah, I'm living the summery dream.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so today we are at Pole Pole. It's a great place in Gwangan. Peter, what do you think of this place?
I think it's fabulous. I think it's great. Like their drinks here, and I'm looking forward to coming here on a nice quiet afternoon, maybe by myself.
You know what's really cool? They have vinyl records here, man.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually play stuff on vinyl record LPs. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of selection in the back. There's a huge selection.
Tegan here, she is really into the whole fitness and exercising, aren't you?
Yeah. So
what kind of fitness do you like to do?
So I guess what you could say, mainly I'm interested in triathlon. Mm-hmm. So do you guys know about triathlon? Do you know what it is?
There are 3 events. That's all I can remember.
Okay, what are the 3 events?
Yes, I don't know.
Okay, take a guess. So
Swimming.
Okay, swimming is 1.
Running.
Running is 2, yeah.
Rifle shooting.
No, archery, right?
No, but
No,
that's...
I'm in decathlon.
Yeah, that's a different one.
Okay.
So swimming, running, and biking.
Ah.
So actually in a triathlon, it starts off with swimming, and then it goes into cycling, and then it goes into running. Mm-hmm. And there's various distances that triathlon consists of. So the smallest distance usually is called a sprint, and the longest distance is called an Ironman or a king course. So it can be called sprint, and then the next distance would be Olympic distance, and then there's like long distance, and then Ironman or king course.
Is there any Spider-Man?
There's no Spider-Man, but maybe
Thankfully, that'd be kind of weird. That'd be kind of weird.
Batman.
you guys maybe could make a Spider-Man or a Batman.
What, you climb a wall or something?
Yeah, and shoot a rifle.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, like.
I don't think, who shoots rifles? I don't think Batman shoots rifles.
But you were saying also maybe rifle shooting could be part of it.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking decathlon.
Yeah.
Have you found any differences between doing your marathons and everything in Busan and back home?
I guess the difference between American races and Korean races would be, long ago when I was running in America, there was tons of women, and the competition was really great and it was very fun. But when I first came to Korea, there were no women. So it was me and a lot of ajushis running, because at the time, running was not really a trendy or cool thing, and especially for women, it was kind of something that like middle-aged men were doing.
Well, look at it now. Everybody's running now.
Yeah, so
except for me, I'm not running.
I'm not running either.
The biggest change in versus Korea and America is when I first came to Korea, it was not something that younger people were doing. But in the last, I'd say, 10 years, but mainly last 5 years, it's become super trendy. And there's all these run clubs. So in America, a lot of people just run by themselves, they run alone. But in Korea, it's a really big group activity. And so I would say that is one of the main differences in terms of the style or things like that.
Seems that everything in Korea is more of a group activity.
Yeah, definitely more of a
Eating
group
groups, exercising groups, go to work in groups.
Yeah,
have a show in groups.
Yeah, groups.
Have a show in groups. Yeah, so I think that's like one of the biggest differences is the group atmosphere of it. But yeah, at first, as I said, there was not very many women. But now there's so many women, and there's become this also trend where a lot of women are fitness influencers. And so they're basically running and taking photos for their SNS all the time.
Our competition.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of one of the differences. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And people like me and Peter, we were not really that athletic.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
how do you suggest somebody like us, like people like us, get started with getting in shape?
Okay, so as I said, I like to do triathlon. So that's 3 sports. It's running, biking, and swimming. Or if you want to do, so I first would ask you, what's interesting to you? Like, what thing would be fun for you? Would you want to, let's say you want to do maybe one of the 3. What would you pick?
One of the 3, maybe I don't know, bicycling.
Cycling, okay.
That's the best I can think of.
Okay.
Because with a bicycle, you can actually get somewhere.
Well, you can get somewhere running, but
you said you took your bike when you came here.
Yeah,
I mean it's useful.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas running around a track, just go around, it's not really useful. And I like the things that are useful.
Well, so basically, actually what you're saying, okay, you like biking. So, okay, for example, one of the things that really got me into fitness, I think before I was just kind of someone who enjoyed it. And I said I was doing like 1 marathon a year, 1 full course marathon a year. And it was kind of a hobby, but how it kind of changed to be my lifestyle, I would say, is about 3 years ago, 2017, I decided to do the Seoul to Busan or Busan to Seoul bike path. You can ride your bike all the way from Busan all the way to Seoul. So I decided this is a goal that I wanted to do. And so at the time I didn't have a bike. So I went on to like one of those used websites and I bought a $50 folding bike.
Like did you get one from Amazon or something like that?
It was like a used folding bike from like some Korean like Chungo Nara or something. I thought I'll just get like a cheap bike and I'll pack my backpack and I'll go. And I didn't really do much research. So day 1, I got on my little folding bike. And keep in mind, the folding bike does not go very fast. Right. So from going to Busan to Seoul, it's about 500 kilometers. So what you need to think of is how far you're going to ride in a day. But the problem is terrain. So if it's a flat road, you can. So when I looked at the map and I was like, okay, I'm going to go from here to here, 100. I'm going to go here to here, 100. And you can easily make that. But then when you're actually on the road and you see that the 100 is straight up a mountain, it becomes a lot different. So first of all, day 1 was pretty easy. I remember I got about 90 kilometers the first day. But when I got to my destination where to sleep, everything was booked because it was during Chuseok. So I had nowhere to stay, so I had to keep going a little bit more. And then I'd had this like backpack and I'd like tried to attach it onto a rack on my bike, but I didn't actually know how to like attach well. So I just had it, the rack attached with zip ties. So like the rack fell off and my bag fell off and it was like getting to be night and I couldn't find a place to stay and I was just like, it was getting to be, and also it was like downpouring rain.
Oh, man.
Everything happens at one time.
So that first day was really tough. And so I ended up finally finding a place, and a lot of the places on the bike path, they'll be like motels or hotels, and they actually like accommodate to bikers. So they're used to seeing a lot of bikers, and it was like a motel, but the lady that worked there, she had all these bike tools actually. So she was able to help me fix my rack and get going.
Good.
So I was planning to do this whole trip in 5 days.
5 days.
5 days. So second day, I start off and I'm feeling so happy now. I'm like, I did the first day, I'm all set. And I was going from Busan to Seoul. So I leave on the second day and I'm just so happy and I'm like taking selfies. And then the bike rack breaks again. And I'd had my phone on this little contraption, like set up in the, I don't know, a little holder. And the other thing was the holder broke and my phone fell and shattered.
Oh no.
So I'm like, the second day started off good, but then it's like getting worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, it's like beautiful flat terrain. And then all of a sudden, these like hills start. And these are like huge hills. And my things are all like broken. And I remember just like pushing my bike up the hill and like crying, like just like, why am I doing this? And I remember calling my friend who had done the trail before, and I was like, why didn't you tell me that there's hills? And actually, so the second day, I was like I didn't want to quit, but I didn't know how I was going to get through this. Because also, and it's not easy to navigate the trails either. Like, I think they're much better now, but at the time, sometimes you wouldn't know which way to go.
Right.
And I was getting confused. I was like having all these problems. And then I met this guy at the top of one of the hills. And he ended up like traveling with me for the rest of my trip.
Wow, cool.
And so you would think this sounds like a really great story. Like, it sounds really nice. Like, wow, you found someone to travel with. It was great. And it was. And so he'd done the trail many times. And he was this really nice, I thought he was this really nice guy.
Was he an axe murderer?
Well, last day, I had to go to meet my friends in Seoul. So I was on a schedule, and he actually was going to another area, not directly Seoul. So he was going to take a bus, and then he was going to go to Seoul later. But my bike, which he was on, had the rack with all my stuff in it. It had and I was really naive, and like I didn't prepare, so I didn't know. One of the key points is bring as little as possible. I brought my laptop. I brought 5 outfits. Like, so the folding bike, not only is it a slow bike, but also it was packed.
Slow it down, yeah.
It was packed. So his bike had nothing, and it was really light, and it was easy, fast. So I was on his bike, he was on the folding bike, and he's like, take my bike, we'll meet up in Seoul, and we'll switch bikes back, and I'll give you your stuff later. But I had to meet my friends in the afternoon. So I go to Seoul, and at that time, another key point of the story I forgot to mention. When I had met him, he had nothing. He had no phone. He had no bag. And I asked, when I first met him, I was like, "Where's all your stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, it got stolen." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was in," and this was during Chuseok. So he's like, I can't get it until I get to Seoul, and then I'll have to figure it out after the holiday. Yeah. So I was like, okay, no problem. I'll help you out. And he literally didn't have anything. So it wasn't like he's lying, because I was traveling with him for 5 days. Right. So on the last day, I gave him $300 because we'd been traveling also for 5 days, and I like trusted this person. So I gave him $300 so that he could take the bus and get all the stuff that he had to do. And I said, okay, when you get back to Seoul, email me. Email me, because he didn't have a phone. His phone was stolen. So I get to Seoul, and I'm emailing him. And I'm like, hey, have you arrived in Seoul? And finally he emails me back and is like, oh, I'm sorry, like he had to do something and it was running late. He's like, I'll meet up with you tomorrow, everything. So I was like, okay. The next day comes, no message. No message.
Ghosted you.
The next day, then I ended up staying in Seoul for about 3 days with my friends. And I was like waiting for this person to get my bike and my stuff, On the last day when I was going to Busan, he finally messages me, emails me, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll bring it to Busan. And I'm like, okay, still I kind of believe him at this point, because we were together for 5 days, and I'm like, things happen. And so, but then he completely ghosted me. Oh no. And so I had his bike. So in a way I'm like, okay, I have his bike, which is a pretty expensive bike.
700.
Well, it was probably about 300 or 400, but it was a nice bike, and mine was just a $50 folding bike. Oh, yeah. But it had the laptop and other things, and I'd given him the $300. So I didn't really think, why would you want to steal women's clothing and like a used laptop? But I didn't really understand this. So, anyways, though, finally I get back to Busan, and he'd ghosted me. So I message him like, hey, if you don't respond, I'm gonna go to the police, and like I'm gonna end up, having to deal with this because I don't know what else to do. And so the police sent him an email via the police email saying like, because police can see if he opened it, they can check. So they emailed him and were like, this is the police, you need to return her things, or we're gonna have to take she can press charges or whatever. So basically my whole fitness journey started off with this crazy like Busan to Seoul bike ride that ended up with me getting my bike stolen and my computer stolen and everything stolen. But actually the bike I rode here today on is the bike that I got from him. Okay. So the end of the story is, it turned out that this guy had been doing this to people on the bike trail the whole time. So I wasn't just the only one.
He was a scammer.
He was a scammer, so what he would do is he would go on the bike trail, and a lot of people on the bike trail are in the situation I was in, where you don't know how to do it. You don't know what to do. And so what he would do was he would find these people.
Find the naive ones, the
or
novices.
Or find people that were generous and would pay for where he could stay, and he would just take
Right.
advantage of it, and he'd get food, and I think he was just kind of, I don't really know if he could actually steal that much of valuable things. I think he was very
Right.
lucky with me. But I truly kind of think he wanted to give it back, but I think he actually had no money. Do you know what I mean? And so he ended up the police ended up catching him, and he ended up going to jail. And you know the funny thing is,
good for you.
after he got out of jail, he said he apologized and asked me if he could borrow $50. He emailed me, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
It could have been much worse. You could have, you could have met Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. I mean,
would've
that would
been
have been a
bad.
I
lot.
saw that movie.
That would have been a lot worse. But so
Yeah.
basically, this is kind of off the fitness journey thing. But my summary is find something that you like. So for me, at first, it was running was my passion. But with cycling, I didn't really want to compete for cycling per se, but I wanted to travel via cycling, and I wanted to have adventures. And so I think kind of like you, I didn't just want to exercise.
Right.
I wanted to see Korea. And so even though it started off with like a bad experience, it changed my life, and it made me realize the world is so much bigger than we think, and we're just a little tiny piece of it. So sometimes when we're in Busan, we get caught up in the drama, we get caught up in the day-to-day, we get caught up in our own egos, right? But when you do these kind of challenges, you go out in the world and you just see that, wow, it's so big, it's so vast, and look what we can do if we try.
Yeah. I also like beer curls. Can you incorporate that into some sort of marathon?
You
beer
can.
curls.
Well, a lot of the best part I think also is when you're exercising all day, when you're riding your bike all day, you're burning so many calories.
Oh, yeah.
So then you have to replace those calories, and beer is a great way to replace calories.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
How is it different being here than in any other country? Have you ever done any marathons in any other country besides Korea and USA?
So San Francisco marathon I did, and then in Korea I've done so many marathons. And as I was saying, I think one of the big differences is there's a lot of women that are in America or in other countries.
Right.
And another difference would be, it's kind of changing not but in America people would always try to make it like a themed kind of thing, like wear a tutu, and a lot of people would just do it as kind of not a joke, but they would really have fun with it. Where I think in Korea, when I first started, a lot of people were more serious. But now I think Korea's kind of also embraced that attitude, and people are doing a lot of fun runs. There's zombie runs and color runs, and there's a lot of different things now as well.
And, what I see, what was really catching on are people doing it for their birthday. Birthday runs, and they're not doing it just to get a good time. They're doing it just so they can say they did it. So people, I think, now are kind of embracing that here too, and enjoying the running. And I think now also, so the difference I think at first was in America, it was a lot of people just doing it as a bucket list or a one-time thing or a fun thing. But in Korea, when I first started, it was a lot of serious runners. But as I said, not very many women. But now I think the number of runners has really increased, and also the style of runners. People are doing it for, bucket list, a birthday, so there's a lot of different types of runners now. And how about the bystanders, the ones that aren't really, they're not really out doing the race with you? Are they courteous to people?
So when there's actually an event,
maybe you're biking along the road and there's a car behind you, and they try to honk at you and get you out of the way.
Well, definitely that's a big problem. There's a lot of people that have actually died from biking, and they have to be really careful. But when it's an actual event like Ironman or something, they have the roads cleared.
Oh.
So that's one of the things I do like about doing the events, is that the roads are clear and safe, and you actually also have water stops, snack stops, bathrooms. So everything is really safe and provided.
Oh.
So I think that is a good thing.
Oh, okay. You said there's a hotel there that normally accommodates bikers and things. Is that very common?
So the hotels along the bike, there's many hotels along the bike path, but if you're gonna go do, for example, a triathlon, the triathlon organization they can help you, but pick a hotel, but sometimes the locations, there's not that many hotels, so it can be really difficult to get to the venues and things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit complicated. So basically, I would say it's a rich man's sport, and it requires a lot of time and effort to get involved in it.
And no folding bikes.
And actually to do triathlon, they check your bike, and they don't allow, you have to have either a road bike or a TT bike. So
How about a moped?
Moped is not allowed.
A TT bike?
So TT bike is a time trial bike. So basically,
Time travel?
Well,
I heard too.
TT, you're not going to go into like, the 1800s or into the future.
That would be great. I don't know why I was thinking of Pee Wee Herman too, but I was thinking Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, he has a bike, doesn't he?
Yeah. And suddenly, like, you took those two movies and crossed them. Like Pee Wee's Big Adventure Part 2, and he talked to the dock, and he got a bike that went and sent him to the 1800s.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
That would be...
So, Tegan,
Yes.
you have a new show on KBS. Can you tell us about that?
Well, actually, yeah, it's just like a one-time thing, actually. So you guys will only be able to see it one time, but it was basically KBS followed me around and did a little, I guess, kind of like documentary about my life.
A documentary?
In her case, maybe she's kind of doing some athletics. Yeah, documentary.
Yeah, so actually, about a couple months ago, I got a phone call, or actually, my friend asked me, "Hey, I was wondering if you'd be willing to do this TV show," and I said, "Okay, well, what is the deal?" And she said, "Can I give them your name, and they're going to contact you?" And so KBS contacted me, and they did about an hour phone interview asking me about my life and things like that. And then after that, after the hour phone interview, then they ended up coming to Busan and interviewing me. I didn't realize like they were in Seoul, and they came all the way down to Busan to do an interview. And then after that, they told me, "Hey, we chose you for our program," and they ended up following me around for about 3 weeks. And it was a lot of filming. It was reality, but the thing is, whenever they're filming something, they have to get a lot of different shots and different angles.
Right.
And so even though I would be doing, like, for example, if I'm drinking a coffee, it's like they want to watch me buy the coffee. They want to see me hand my credit card. They want to see me taste the coffee. So it is reality, and I'm doing what I normally would do, but I have to do it slower or like explain why I'm doing it.
And more times.
Yeah, more times.
Wow.
So it is like when you guys watch the show, you can search. I think right now it's on KBS like replay or something. You can watch it. It was on Tuesday, August 11th. And the show is called My Neighbor Charles. It's called Eat It Cheap Charles. So it's basically, it follows foreigners around and takes a little glimpse of their life in Korea. And I guess the focus of mine, a lot of foreigners here, get married and have a kid, and they, have this like Korean and multicultural mixed family, or how do you say that?
Multicultural.
A little bit of both.
Family? But I guess my life is, I'm not married and I'm single, and I'm still living in Korea.
You hear that, guys? She's single.
So it makes it a little bit different than the typical, story line that they had. And they basically followed me around with a focus mainly on, I guess, my sports and triathlon. And then also they show my house, like my home life, and they show my going to work, and they show all those things. So it was a pretty interesting experience.
That sounds really neat. Now, you said you had to take multiple takes. I saw a trailer or a preview, a commercial of it. You're dumping water on yourself. How many times did you have to do that?
That was actually not multiple takes. That was real.
Thankfully, that's a lot of water.
Oh no, you didn't do it. You had to get in this angle here. Dump it again. Dump it down there again. Yeah.
That was real. Actually, it was so hot. We were doing like a competition, and so I was doing it over and over. So that was real.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was real. So actually, one thing, when they're filming my finish line, so I finished the race. It was 9K run, 63K bike, 9K run, and it was so hot. So when I actually finished, I was dying. And then they said to me, Tegan, we didn't get the finish. Can you do it again? They had me, I had to run the finish 3 times.
In a row?
In a row, yeah.
Wow.
Well, continually for them to get the shot.
And
so when you guys watch the actual KBS thing, that is not my real finish. That was the 3rd time I finished it.
Oh.
So it was.
Did you have other stand-ins there running?
Stunt double.
Or did it just make you look like you did it alone? You're very fast.
I want a stunt double. Yeah, I want a stunt double, but I did not have a stunt double.
Oh, okay. Okay, the other part of the trailer I saw, I was confused to what the show was about. One part you're dumping water on yourself, you're on a bike and all that stuff. Next part you're in your classroom doing some teaching, and then all of a sudden you're on a yacht with champagne in your hand. So it's everything.
Everything. So it
Your
kind of
whole
is
day.
showing my whole life, but I think
Your whole life, your whole day. That's
whole
an exciting
life, whole
day.
day. So yeah, I think the funny thing was I've planned yacht parties before, and I had planned to do my birthday on a yacht. But the problem was that once KBS decided to film me, I had to do this. I'd already told them I was doing this, and I was planning to do it. But then a lot of people didn't actually. So for my birthday, I rented a yacht, and you can have up to 28 people on the yacht.
Right.
But the problem is a lot of my friends actually didn't want to go because they didn't want to be filmed. And so it was harder to, first of all, it was hard to get people that wanted to be filmed, because a lot of people were worried about their face being on camera, and just if they're not sure, what kind of, how the KBS would edit the footage, because the problem was actually, so they filmed the whole yacht party. And so that was, 3 hours on the yacht, all of these things. But, and also, we're drinking alcohol and things like that. So, you don't want it to you don't want to look bad.
All right, well, that's been a talk on the table. Before we go, I do want to announce something. Now, next episode is going to be a hat episode. So,
That's fantastic.
So what we're going to do with this is we're going to have you guys at home, whichever camera I'm on. You guys are going to leave comments on YouTube and on our Facebook page and Twitter page. You guys, what we want you to do is comment on what topic you want us to cover next time. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all those comments, print them out, put them on a little piece of paper, put the paper in a big hat, have a hat sitting on a table, and while we're recording the show, we're going to pick a topic from the hat. We'll talk about that.
Wait.
Yes.
What? I'm a little disappointed now, Danny. I was thinking I was going to be able to bring all of my hats.
You
and
can
we
bring
can
all your hats and wear them, too.
I could bring my hats and just bring them as we talk.
Don't you?
I have almost 20 hats.
Yeah. Okay, so are you going to leave a comment?
I'll just tell you guys, I want you to put this in the hat. I think the topic should be his hats.
Okay, Peter's hats. Okay, and Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Where else are we? We don't have Instagram.
The internet. We're on the internet.
Okay, so let us know in the comments and Twitter and Facebook what our next topic will be. Tegan was
Peter's hats.
Okay, Peter's hats. Okay, well,
They're not that special.
Tegan, it was very nice having you
Yeah,
here.
thanks you guys. I had a lot of fun, and it's really great table talk. Talk table
Talk
on the table.
on the table, yes.
Yes.
We're having a talk table.
And a nice table it is.
Yeah, very nice table. Put that in the hat too.
Yeah.
Talk about tables. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, that's all for today. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. On behalf of T&D Productions, we'd like to thank Tegan Smith for being our special guest today. So, what do you think of triathlons? And what do you think of Tegan Smith? She's in that reality show, My Neighbor Charles. Have you seen it? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell icon and you will be notified when a new video drops. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and friend us on Facebook. Next time is our special hat episode. Leave your comments for that episode as well. Thanks for watching.